Hey, we should host another group build sponsored by the podcast.
Sure, but it needs to be a race car this time.
Yeah, something that can race on asphalt or dirt.
And night and different types of weather. That would be pretty cool.
And can fly.
Wait, what?
What you talking about, BG?
Hey, I got it. Rally cars.
Yes.
What date should we run the build for?
How about January 31st? It can start and go to December 31st. That's a good amount of time.
Sure, I can work with that.
Okay, but I gotta say, I'm a little concerned about the defying gravity thing. I haven't had much luck in that lately.
Join the Scale Model Car Podcast 2025 Rally Cool Rally Car Group Build and build that rally car model kit that's been sitting on your shelf ever since you brought it home from the hobby store and said, I'm gonna build that one day, because now is your chance.
How's it going, all you scale model car junkies out there? Welcome to the Scale Model Car Podcast with your hosts, BG, Chuck, Luca, and Jason.
Hello and welcome to episode 42 of the Scale Model Car Podcast. This is your friend, Mr. BG, wishing all the fathers and father figures out there a happy Father's Day weekend. Let's say hello to our hosts. First off, Chuck from Chuck's Hobby Spot.
Hi, everybody.
And Jason from Blue Ox Model Shop.
What's going on, everybody?
And, of course, here's the Barney Fife to my Andy Griffith, Matt from the Lucas E channel.
I got my bullets right here.
One
That's
bullet.
One bullet.
One bullet.
I wrecked that one. Never mind. I wasn't prepared.
That's fine. That's why you're hired, dude.
Thank
and now,
you.
Viewers of the podcast may have already noticed that we have a spare tire on our model car this week, and that is going to be our good friend Jodi Doyle. Hello, Jodi.
How's it going, everybody?
Welcome aboard, sir.
Thank you.
There are no life preservers on this cruise. So it's sink or swim.
Lucky you.
Good thing I'm buoyant.
I like it. All right,
Didn't you
cool.
call
So
him the spare tire?
I did,
Yes.
yeah.
He's
There you
buoyant.
Right. I've seen tires not float. Let's see here.
Don't ruin the joke, Chuck.
Sorry.
You know, usually they have a mafioso stuck inside the tire. That's when they don't float. But let's see. That's a different podcast. Right now, we're going to go on to the round table and talk about what we have going on our bench and or channel or Instagram feeds. And we'll start with Matt.
Oh my goodness. What am I got? I got the same old stuff going on. I have what was that? I'm glitching. I had I still
same
have
old stuff.
I still have, the this thing going on here, the 66 Malibu SS. That's like priority on the bench. But had to clear it away because I was doing a whole bunch of getting that item ready, a couple items ready to come out with from Lucas E Products, with that 78 D10 cab. They have been delivered to Andy's, and he'll put them on the website whenever the heck he feels like it.
Sweet.
So hopefully they'll be available soon.
Right on.
And videos, I'm working on a video right now, and with our buddy Scott Comer from magazine. Yep. Auto Modeler magazine. That anybody who's gotten the most recent issue saw that whole bit on Richard Carroll and all his zany creations that he did way back in the 60s, and won cars and motorcycles and women, and well, no, not women, but
Wait, what?
I mean, he won a real car.
What a time to start listening.
Yeah, right.
We're putting together I've been editing like crazy, and we're putting together this really cool video because Scott and Nanny went down to Florida to actually interview, and they pulled all those models out of boxes that they've been crated up for like years, 20 years or so, and they were pulling them all out and looking at them. So we're putting that whole video together. It's pretty cool. It's going to be a neat one.
That's awesome, dude. Now can I spoil this by saying, was he the one that won the Corvair in the magazine?
One who won the Corvair in the magazine.
Okay, so I'm just going to go out on a limb here and offer this, that he still has all those models, but I'm sure he doesn't have that Corvair anymore, right?
Oh, he tells the story. He did not keep that Corvair very long.
Controversy. Yeah. Oh, I like
that Corvair, not long. He will. That will be revealed in the video. And obviously, I'm got sunspots here, so I'm glitching.
Oh, you're about to beam out. Yeah, it's all
yeah.
Okay. Captain. Thank you, Matt. Before you teleport out, let's go to Chuck. What have you got going on, sir?
Uh-oh.
No, just kidding.
No, that joke's not funny anymore.
It's too
Very good.
I'm only halfway through my scotch, Chuck. That's too early for that.
All right. So, I'm cusping the end of that 37 Ford. It's pretty much at the assembly phase and the wiring phase and all that other stuff.
Cusping the end?
Or yeah, you know what I mean. I'm at the very end of it.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying you're cupping. I was like,
no.
all right. So making sure I get the terminology right.
Anyway, it's just about done. I've been on this thing every night when I got home from work and all last weekend trying to get it done so I can start my 55 Chevy for our Spirit of Speed build.
Mm-hmm.
That's about all I got going on. I just been on that pretty much. I haven't done any videos. Definitely haven't done any Instagram. I am meaning to do videos, and I just haven't had the time.
I'm 100% with you right there, brother. Right there.
It's not like I don't want to do videos. It's just I don't have time right now. So,
and
yeah. So
I hear you.
I'm making time for this though. So,
well, we're very glad. For that.
Thank you.
I'm glad you got somebody to cover for you at the drive-thru. So that's awesome.
I did.
Okay, cool. Let's move on to Jodi. Jodi, what have you got going on your bench and/or Instagram feeds?
Instagram, I'm trying to get kind of where it needs to be. You know, I've been adding more and more stuff in there.
Good.
And it's VW Jodi is my Instagram name for anybody who wants to try to find me over there. It's locked up, so I don't let all the hooligans in. But anyways, on the bench,
like us,
right now, I think Jason broke through. Jason,
I did. I snuck in the other day.
You snuck in. Currently on the bench, I've got a couple things I'm trying to get done. I've got this 76 petty car that's getting really close.
Yeah.
It's all cleared, needs a little bit of wet sand and buff, and then I got to get the decals on it. And then I've got this 68 Tasmanian.
Ooh, dude, that is beautiful.
Oh, cool. Nice.
The Polar Lights kit. That's getting pretty close to. I'm trying to get them done. You know, the days of starting 10 kits and not really making any forward progress is long gone. So I can stick to 2 or 3 at a time. Seems to be the most favorable, but I want to get these 2 done because I've got a Street Machine group build I got to get going on here pretty quick too. So,
oh wow, who's hosting that one there?
I'm not sure. One of my New England friends.
Yeah, Blue something or other.
The Blue something or other model shop. Yeah.
Right.
But that's pretty much it.
That's awesome. So, the petty car.
Yep.
Is that the water slide decals or the adhesive backed ones that they came out with a little while ago?
So this was, believe it or not, one of the medias I use quite a bit is acrylic craft paint. So the blue is an electric blue acrylic craft paint.
Really?
And then it's kind of tough to tell, but this kit came with the white outline for the red panel. So I painted the car, applied the white panels, then went back. I applied 2 coats of 2K clear to protect the stripe, masked it, and then applied bright red Tamiya lacquer. And
my gosh.
Wet sanded it very gently just to get rid of the edge.
Mm-hmm.
And then 3 more coats of clear. So
cool.
A little bit of everything on that.
So I'm going to sell my stash and stop modeling and just go knit with Linda now.
Trust me, I was looking at the decals.
Maybe Jodi can go knit.
Yeah,
I was looking at decals to take the easy way out, and I pondered it for a while what I was going to do with it, and Tim Custom, he did a video somewhat recently where he printed the decals, copied them and then cut them out.
Mm-hmm.
And I contemplated that, but I'm like, if I do that, I still need to try to outline it. So how am I going to do that? So I said, what I'm going to do is apply the white stripe, and if it turns out good, I will then just paint it. And if I couldn't get the white stripes on there, I was just going to paint the red and call it good enough. So,
So what are you going to use for the rest of the contingency stuff? The decals that came with the kit, or are you going to use like an aftermarket?
Yeah, no, I'm going to use the ones that came with the kit. They're power slide, so they're really good decals, and they I've built a couple other Salvino kits, and they work really well. Right, you just got to kind of take your time with it. And the nice thing about going over the 2K with them is the 2K is really forgiving. So, if you need to apply a little extra setting solution, there's really no fear of repercussion of that. So
good.
Needs to be wet sanded a little bit. It actually turned out really well. I got very, very minimal amount of dust in it, and it's got pretty good orange peel, but they were never really perfect to begin with, and I didn't really want to try to go too over the top with this thing. So
yeah.
No, that's actually what Matt always says is the race cars they look great in photographs, but or going 200 miles an hour, but when you're standing next to it, it's like, what?
Yeah.
I mean, I've been searching online through the Google box, all sorts of photographs of rally cars just to get an idea what they look like on the inside. Yeah. And the detailed photographs of the inside of these things, it's like, how does this thing even operate? I mean, it's held together with zip ties and duct tape, right?
Literally, yeah.
And then, and I'm like, it must be some of that, it's like, what they call it, 100 mile an hour tape or whatever. It's like, does this tape actually add horsepower?
Right. Aren't you, Jodi, don't you live in the state that's home of the rally car?
Yeah, so about 10 minutes from where I live is Vermont Sports Car, which is the company that builds the Subaru rally cars, Travis Pastrana, kind of all that stuff. So they hold pretty regular events over there. They do cars and coffee a couple times a year. They do open houses every once in a while. If anybody's seen one of the cars they put out, it was 2 or 3 years ago, the little boxy Subaru Justy wagon, the square with the plaid pattern.
Yeah.
I happened to go one of the events over there 3 years ago, and that car was inside, and I had no idea that they had built that. And I could see it kind of from the mezzanine down, took a couple pictures of it. And
cool.
Then shortly thereafter, he put some videos out with that. And it's pretty neat. Those guys kind of started in a small little operation and then built this monstrosity of a building, and they got a really good program over there.
That's cool.
They build factory Subaru cars. They used to do, I think Hyundai was another company that they did work for back in their old shop. So it's pretty neat that you got all these world rally cars and you see them on, the TV, and they've got Vermont plates on them because they're built right here. So,
yeah.
So do you think I could take my 2016 Outback and see if they can hop that up a little bit?
Absolutely.
Because the only thing I would ask is just put a 5-speed manual in it, please. CVT transmissions, I want to just take out in the desert and shoot.
I'll 3D print you one.
They go.
Nice.
Sounds like a good weekend project. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's only take 3 hours 6 days later. Cool, man. Okay. So, Jason, next time I'm out visiting you, we're going to have to hop over to Vermont and go to the Subaru place with Jodi.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Sound
for
like
sure.
a good plan? All right. Let's do that. I'm writing that down.
Pencil that in.
Right on. And then, so thank you for sharing. Now, you were working on the Masmanian kit, you said?
Yes.
Right. And it's Polar Lights, right?
It's a Polar Lights kit.
Is that the same kit as the Supercharger?
I haven't seen that one specifically, but I have a feeling the chassis and a lot of that stuff is probably very similar.
Okay. Would you recommend that kit to a beginner?
That's the chassis for it right there. It's not anything stellar, but it's got it's not that bad. The chassis comes one piece. You got to add cross members in there. the suspension pieces seem to be pretty delicate, you know, just by nature.
Okay.
I wouldn't suggest trying to push it around on the carpet, but
Right.
but
Darn.
I think if you build it, don't let your meat pod relatives get next to it. You're probably okay.
Right. So no, correct me if I'm wrong, Matt. That's a Logie chassis. And
Yep.
I do believe that all of those Polar Light kits have that chassis in them.
Yep.
The Masmanian car is probably the same as the Starduster, I think is what it was, Barracuda.
Barracuda.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, because I happened to spy the supercharger kit the other day, and I was like, "That's actually kind of a cool looking car."
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about it. I wasn't sure if that's something. I've never done a funny car like that before, so I'm like, is that one of those kits that would be kind to somebody who hasn't done something like that before, or would that be something we should steer clear of?
No, I think so. It's not really overly difficult. The one thing that seemed a bit of a challenge at the beginning was the interior tub that kind of goes up into the body.
Mm-hmm.
Is kind of all the inner sheet metal that goes around all the cockpit area of the and that's a multi-piece type thing. And I don't even think when I install it I'm going to glue it in because it's got such a tight tolerance fit. I think it'll stay in there. And the nice thing about it is the little bar in the back here, there's like a female slot or socket in the back of the body, so it just kind of sets over it. So you can, flop up and down, plus take it off.
Oh, okay,
So,
okay.
Yeah, it's not that bad of a kit. I've had that for a number of years, and I just decided to pull it out and start working on it. And the body was nice and straight. A little bit of lines on it that needed to be taken care of, but all in all, really not that bad. So
Okay. Well, I think I might grab it next time I see it, which will be Monday morning. So
excellent.
Nice.
Cool. Thank you for sharing, sir. And the two products you showed us there are freaking beautiful.
Thank you.
Jason, how about you, bud? What you got going on?
Channel wise, pretty much just the same old stuff. I have been having a lot of fun on the Sunday Live build room though.
Good.
That seems to be pretty successful and a ton of fun. So you guys, if you're listening and subscribe to my channel, please check it out. As far as the bench, I'm working on the Street Machine group build. That would be the Fiat Abarth, which is right there.
That's looking really good.
I've got
Nice.
that is coming along really well. Simultaneously, I'm working on my Porsche group build that's being hosted by my good buddy Chuck and BG.
Yay.
And that's
I like the color.
Yeah,
Angry
that's
as
really
Porsche.
yes.
That's a-
So
that's a pancreas Porsche,
Frank
yeah.
Steffens on the Sunday Live, because of the hideously bright light that's above my head, said that this looked like a pancreas because of the color. It's in reality, if you guys are watching this and not listening, and if you are listening, it's like Mary Kay pink.
Yeah, it's got a bubblegum hue to
Yeah,
it.
it's
for sure.
definitely not the color of a pancreas.
So are you leaving it that color?
Yeah.
Okay, so are you going to have
It's
plates on it
cool.
that say Mary Kay or something like that?
No, I wasn't
Number one
thinking of that.
sales?
I should do that though, huh?
That would be
Mhm.
kind of cool, actually.
Actually. Yeah, it's decaled up. Got the decals, and it's hard to see with this light. I apologize, but decals on the doors. I get the nose emblem done. Oh man, that light's awful. Anyway, yes, it's staying that color.
Okay.
Yep.
That or Barbie. I mean, either or.
Oh, something like that, right?
Yeah.
Are you gonna put tassels on it?
Cones, you mean?
Yeah.
No,
Cones with
I
tassels?
can't because of the way the headlight lenses are. I can't put cones on this one. Plus, they'd be pointed at the sky, which would just be weird. So we'll leave those. But the Fiat could have some cones.
You should get some of those
boy.
eyelashes. You
We
know the
just went-
eyelashes they put on the headlights? You should get a set of those for it.
Oh, dude,
Right, yeah.
that's actually a really good
I
idea.
like that. And then maybe we can figure out how to get one to wink once in a while.
Right? Yes, exactly. I used to have a Conquest TSI that did that. those have pop-up headlights, and one
right,
headlight.
yeah.
Every once in a while, one headlight would go
Yeah.
all on its own.
So I don't like how
So
your car
anyway.
is looking at me.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what's going on over here.
And I thank you very much, Jason. It sounds like you still got a lot going on there, dude. And I want to say thank you to Jodi from taking us back from PG-13. Saying that with the eyelash comment.
Yeah.
But we get letters. But,
We do.
Cool. I didn't realize you were leaving it pink. I thought that was just a primer coat for a red you're doing on it. So
No,
I
sir.
apologize for not paying attention. But
Well, you don't have to apologize for that. I mean, it is your group build, though. But
oh, that was thank you. That was nice. Okay.
I'm just joshing you.
Moving on. Oh, to me. Okay. Yeah, let's talk about me. All right.
Correct.
So for the bench, I'm working on the rally car deal and working on the Revell Germany / Hasegawa kit. That's the Toyota WRC kit. And I've got the chassis and interior tub all done. I still got to do the rest of the running gear on here, but I want to. It's super delicate, so I want to leave that off until I put the body on top. So because it's kind of a tight fit, it's a lot of shoehorning to get that thing in there, and there's a couple little places where the chassis actually clips into the body shell. So I want to make sure that while I'm wrestling that in there, I don't pop a wheel off or break a something like that. So that's going to come later. But I did decide to fill in the little gas filler door hole that's in the side here, which Jason's got bad light. I have a bad camera. But 5mm slug of styrene, I used a punch set to pop one of those little discs out and fit in there perfectly, cemented it in place, and now I'm just sanding it to make it flush. But as it turns out, I was saying in my video that the car, a lot of the artwork and stuff I've seen and then pictures I've seen of the car doesn't have that filler door hole there. And then, of course, our good friend James Duff sent me a note saying, by the way, you're wrong, and here's how. So thank you, James. Appreciate that. Always nice when you point out my mistakes, jokingly said. But so I thought, I don't like that, especially since they got 20-year-old decals going over that. They're not going to contour into that area well enough. I don't want to try matching the red to paint it. So I'm going to fill it with some styrene and then just cover over it with the decal and be happy with that. So that's
that car is no longer a gas hole then, is that what you're saying?
Yes, exactly. And we're right back into PG-13. But no, it doesn't have a gas hole. But what's really killing me, though, is that this kit is so basic. There's a lot of hoses and wiring and stuff that go around the inside of the car, and you can see all that because it's the hatchback. So I'm like, do I go the extra mile and add in all that stuff, or do I get this done as best I can so I can move on to what I really want to do, which is the Porsche 917K for the Porsche group build? So we're debating on that. And then, of course, the Bronco is still sitting over here staring at me. That needs more bodywork paint and stuff. So as far as the channel is concerned, I have no videos in the pipe right now. Like Chuck, I'm just really busy. And if I have time to sit down and make a video, I'm usually falling asleep. So
exactly how I am right now.
And you don't want to watch a video of that.
No.
So look, he's in REM. He's in REM.
Drawing on the computer screen.
Right. Linda will come into the hobby room and be like, hey, I got a text from one of your YouTube friends. They told me to come and check on you during your live stream. But that's basically it. And hopefully this Sunday, I'm going to get a chance to watch you, Jason, and your buddies on that live cast.
Not this Sunday. This Sunday's Father's Day.
Damn, well, there goes my plans.
Wah, 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 wah.
Sorry. Now I have to go find a father to hang out with now.
Well, right. I've got good news for you, though. With it being Father's Day, it also means that it's the second annual over on the Lucasy Model Car Hobby Headquarters group. It's the second annual Yellow Spark Plug Wire Day.
Is it Yellow Spark Plug Wire Day?
Nice.
Yellow Spark Plug Wire Day.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
So I used yellow spark plug wires on this latest build.
Yeah, see,
Thinking about you.
There you go.
Thinking about you.
Actually, when I put it on, I was thinking about that.
Yep, it's that time of year again.
Nice.
And you know, yellow does look good though. Yellow, orange, and red. For some reason, I that's
always
my
like
go-to colors.
You know, I just realized that if you want to use those itty bitty little spark plug markers so you can mark which wire goes where, if you want to use those itty bitty tiny ones, you know, on a V8 engine, you have enough to spell Lucas E.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Jason's like, you're an idiot.
Okay.
All right, cool. Let's move on. And now it's time for the Northeast Model Car Report.
All right. So this episode, we're going to talk about. We're just going to talk about some upcoming shows.
Let's.
June 21st, Pam's Con 2025. That is hosted by the Polk Area Model Society, held at the Strawberry Festival grounds, Teco Expo Hall. No idea if I'm saying that right. Hopefully I am. 2301 West Oak Ave, Plant City, Florida. Yes, Plant City. Next in line is July 12th, the Space City Shootout Model Car Contest, hosted by the Houston Automotive Modeler Society and held at the Stafford Center, 10505 Cache Road, Stafford, Texas. Then July 18th through the 20th, the Syracuse Mini Nationals Model Car Contest. That is held at the NYS Fairgrounds Center of Progress Building, 581 State Fair Boulevard, Syracuse, New York. Then July 27th, the WYE Bridge Hobbies second annual model car show. This is held in conjunction with the Oil Heritage Festival car show. 247 Seneca Street, Oil City, Pennsylvania. So we got a plant city and an oil city.
Yeah.
Well,
pretty cool.
Oil comes from plants, so
it does. That it does. And then last on the list would be August 6th, the Granddaddy, the IPMS U.S. National Convention. That's held at the Hampton Roads Convention Center, 1610 Coliseum Drive, Hampton, Virginia. I very much want to get to a nationals one of these years.
I was thinking
I wish
it's too late now, but we were kind of talking about going. I was like, oh man, because yeah, that sounds like a beautiful area, the Hampton, Virginia.
Yeah,
and my boss is going to be there too.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
yeah. So I mean, a nationals. It's almost like you have to attend at least one of them once in your life, right?
I think you should. I think you should.
Yeah,
they're fun.
And that's it for me. I'll see you later.
Thank you and goodbye. Jodi's like, wait a minute, I'm here because of you, man. Don't leave me.
Yeah. No, well, there's not a lot of new kits coming out that I haven't already talked about in the past couple of episodes, so we're gonna skip that.
Right.
Oh, good.
It is a weird time of year with the summer holidays coming up, people traveling and all that jazz, and then the whole things going on with other countries and stuff. So we won't get into, but yeah, it's making for a weird time right now. So
yeah, a little bit.
Totally get it. Mm-hmm. Cool. Thank you very much, Jason. I appreciate that. And then Chuck, what have you got to report in the world of 3Ding?
Well, we have what I'm really excited about. Well, I'm always excited about everything, but we're going to start we're going to start with Scale Speed Garage this time. Has anybody seen that 50s style Metro that he came out with, that Metro van?
Yes.
What do you think of that? I think it's awesome.
I think it's awesome, and it's like the potential for doing damn near anything with that would be amazing. I mean, if you want to go with a monster truck motif with it, that would be killer. I
never thought of that, but I always think low and slow. Something like that. That's kind of what my mind keeps telling me. Low and slow.
I think a weathering job on that would just be killer.
How about low and slow with a weathering job?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I mean, The options for this thing are endless. I mean, that just came out. The SSG 50 Part 2. It's a 50 style, or well, 40 style Metro van, delivery van. That just came out. And coming soon, the Pro Elite members, Scale 50 bonus pack is almost here. Resto Mod parts and Metro parts. So I think he's going to do a lot with the 427 single overhead cam. A lot of monster parts in that, I guess. He said he's still got 2 lifetime memberships left. And don't forget to check out his designing classes he does. I want to check that out too. I just don't. Yeah. Again, I don't have a lot of time right now, but I really want to learn how to do a lot of that stuff.
Right.
But our friends at White Tanks Resins, they don't have nothing this week, but maybe next week.
Okay.
And let's see, we have Josh Reese with VCG Resins. He just wanted to say a few reminders. Sign up for the email list at the bottom of the home screen of the website are at checkout. All and new upcoming releases are announced there. No shipping in July 1st to July 8th. They'll be away for the holidays, but the store will remain open. So that's what he's got going on right now. Joel now with Iceman Resins. He's got a custom 54 Chevy grill.
Mm-hmm.
Engine bay accessories, which I just got something in the mail with his engine bay accessories, which is pretty awesome. That comes with the windshield wiper, the windshield washer, fluid tank, coolant tank, radiator overflow tank, radiator cap, brake booster with master cylinder, the electric fans, which I use on almost everything I use because they're small and you can stick them in front.
And you can do two side by side if you want to.
If you have that, the need for 2 side by side, but like on this Roadster, I used 1 because the radiator is real small, you know. So and they fit really, really good. So I'll be using those on a lot of those builds. So thanks again, Joel, for sending that out. He also has the UV glue, which I've been using this UV stuff for gauges and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like you put a little drop on the gauges and then you put the UV light on it and it looks like there's glass over your gauges. So I've been using that. So he also has a bunch of kits from the stash. Not sure what will be left by the time people listen to the podcast. So he's got the 1/12 custom Shadow motorcycle, which Brian, you had did you have a hold of that?
No, I haven't. I haven't seen that one yet. No. I mean, I've seen the mock-up photos of it, but I haven't seen one in real.
Okay, so the newest issue of Automotive Magazine had a sneak peek of the hot-rodded Ford tractor.
Mm-hmm.
You know about that, right?
Oh yeah, I saw the mock-up of that at the
me too.
show.
That's really
beautiful.
Cool.
That's
it's going to be so awesome.
Yeah, that's really coming in July.
So you want to hear my idea for what I want to do with mine?
I have an idea, but go ahead.
I want to get that and then see if I can do some sort of lights on the inside of it to make it glow and make it like Batman's tractor. I mean, how cool would that be? It'd be the Bat tractor. I love it. Okay, I'm doing it. You can't. Don't try to talk me out of it. Shush, shush, shush. I'm doing it.
Okay, they'll be announcing the dates for this year's tournament build-off. He says he'll be doing it, or it'll be available in the Facebook group. 12% discount with the code podcast 12. And that's all he has right now. So well, that's not all. That's a lot.
I mean, yeah, that's a lot.
Because I just got a pack in the mail, and I like the stuff in there, and I'll use every bit of that stuff.
Oh yeah, he sent us the underhood detail pack also with all the tanks and stuff.
Yeah,
freaking killer.
Yeah,
freaking killer. So
it just lights up the motor, man. It's like the detail in that. Just,
I agree.
I mean, who would have thought 3 or 4 years ago you'd have all that detail for your engine bay?
Yeah. My hope is to pack the engine bay with so much extra detail that people don't realize they painted the engine block the wrong color.
Yep. Same.
Yeah, well,
So they don't notice there is not a car body around the engine.
it's just an engine bay in some wheels.
Put 4 or 5 washer bottles under there. A couple of glasses.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
If I put a 3D printed washer bottle on something, does that qualify as a custom? Can I put it in the custom categories? I'm going to get letters. All right, cool. Thank you very much, Chuck. Appreciate that, sir. And then let's go on to the emails. And we have one email.
One email.
Came in like seconds before we started recording, and this is from our good buddy Keith McGregor.
you can always count on Keith.
You can always count on Keith. Thank you, Keith. Even if Keith didn't write in, I would assume his name and write in for him. It says here, I happened upon a YouTube channel of an incredible Jaguar build, a scale plastic model. He says, I watched in awe for over 30 minutes thinking, man, I could never do that. Scratch building brass, nickel, etc. Then thought, that's okay. I'm happy in this hobby where I am at. It's okay, friends, to be comfortable wherever your skill level may be. Regarding last episode, enjoyed Chuck's comments about product reviews and tips. He's getting to be a hard guy to hate, but we're still trying. Thanks all for your encouragement, Keith. Well, Keith, that's awesome. And dude, I tell you what, when it comes to skill level and build level, I've always said that I'm at a point that I've been trying to achieve for years. And now I feel like moving on past that point now, going outside of my comfort zone. And Chuck talks about that a lot also. And I'm sure you can weigh in on this, but yeah, I feel like sometimes on a particular build, let's take it let's ratchet it up a little bit, So I'm dipping my toes in the water. And I'm like, okay, this didn't work out so well. Maybe I'll try it again next time, and I know what I did wrong, so then I can build on that skill. So there you go, Chuck. What do you think?
Cool.
I'm always for that. Just out of the realm, doing different stuff. That's what I do.
Yeah. I mean, you've got the people that are happy where they're at, and I say as long as you're building a model, that's all
fine
that matters.
too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's all that matters.
It's all on the individual.
What say you, Jodi?
I mean, I always feel that I'm kind of on the lagging end of the curve. I mean, the F100 truck I just finished. That's the first time I've used a 3D printed engine, 3D printed wheels. I've been doing scratch building, not Randy Durr level, but for a while. And, I feel where I'm most comfortable is standing on the edge, because it's really the only way you're going to keep progressing forward. Now, I'm not going to go out and buy a bunch of lathes or any of that stuff anytime soon, but I'm quite content with, minor scratch building, now incorporating the 3D printed parts. But as Jason said, whatever you're comfortable with, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm just happy people are building model cars, whether it's good, bad, or ugly. We start with flat sheets of white styrene, and to be able to create something from that, I mean, that's pretty amazing at any level. So,
yes, agreed.
Yeah. Well said. Cool. All right. Well, there you go, Keith. Hopefully that gives some perspective on that. Let's see, we're done with that, and we're going to take a brief little break, and we'll be right back. Going to hear from guys. Do we have names for our characters, Jason?
I'm pretty sure it's just you and me, so I don't know.
I was going to say Lefty and Righty and Tighty, the Lugnut brothers, but whatever.
I like that one.
Okay. All right, cool. We'll be right back after these messages.
Hey, do you have any firecrackers handy?
A few, I think. What's up? The 4th isn't for a few more days.
Oh, well, I'm not real happy with this model car kit. I want to send it into orbit.
What? Oh, man, why?
Well, to tell the truth, I was pretty disappointed in the engine and the wheel options the kit came with, so, bang zoom, straight to the moon, Alice.
No, my friend. Don't blow up that precious styrene. Try going to IcemanCollections.com and pick out different engines or wheel options.
Yeah? What else does Iceman Collections have?
Oh, I have it here on my phone. Check this out. He has over 400 parts available for model cars and dioramas.
Oh, nice. It says here he has a newsletter too.
Yep, sign up and get exclusive news and promotions. He even offers a promo code. It's podcast12 and you get 12% off of your order.
Hey, that's great. You know, every little bit does help these days.
Exactly. Give Iceman Collections a try and order some cool aftermarket engines and wheels to help elevate your build.
Oh, I was gonna elevate my build, all right.
Oh, not like that. Now, I have a model airplane, though, that I'm not quite liking.
All right, let's do it.
Let's go. And welcome back, folks. Thanks for sticking around for a brief advertisement for our good friend Joel over at Iceman Collections. We always have fun making something cool for him, and we're always glad he's a good sport about that. So thank you, Joel, and thank you very much for being, of course, a friend of the channel. Again, we're talking to our good friend Jodi Doyle, and this is the part of the podcast where we get to focus on him. So we're all going to be quiet, and he's going to talk now. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, what do you want to know?
And jump ball. Let's see here. At some point in this segment, the four of us hosts will get a chance to ask you, Jodi, our favorite questions. And you said that you're a longtime listener of the podcast, so you might know what's in store for us, for you, for them, for everybody. But I tried to recover, but I reversed into the dumpster just fine. But I'm going to start off with a very generic question for you, Jodi. What got you started in the hobby?
Yeah. So back in, I want to say it was 79 or 80, I built my first kit as just a young kid, and it was the Toyota Snap Together pickup truck. They reissued it a number of years ago. It's got the life raft in the back, tan with the decals.
Uh-huh.
And that was probably more than anything just to draw my attention away from being an annoying child. But that was the start. And then early teens, kind of got back into it. You know, I would do some lawn care, make a little extra money. And up here in New England, we had a store chain that's long since gone called Benjamin Franklin. And so I used to go down Thursdays were new model car day. So I'd hop on my BMX bike and, ride probably 3-4 miles down in the town with my backpack, go spend my hard-earned cash, pick up a new model kit. And kind of through that, it's always been kind of in the background. And then, like many people, COVID, pandemic kind of brought a lot of people back with stuff to do. And, at that point, I kind of put the rattle cans down, picked up the airbrush, and, it's been kind of uphill from there, I guess, or downhill, however you look at it. So, but it's a great hobby. It's kind of a primary hobby now. I've always been in the cars, motorcycles. My dad's a gearhead. I kind of grew up with it. Had a lot of cool stuff over the years. Kind of found a place in the VW community here on the East Coast. The water cooled, so rabbits, early Jettas, things like that.
Really? And I was not expecting that.
Yeah, I've had quite a bit of success. There's a magazine out of the UK. It's kind of like the pinnacle called Performance VW. And my Jetta that I built, I've had the car for 25 years now, but that was featured back in 2006 and full feature. And I've done a bunch of projects for other friends on the East Coast. So it really filled a lot of my life. But through that and middle age now, I kind of found the hobby, and I really find that I enjoy doing that more than I enjoy rolling around on a cold concrete floor under a rusty old piece of shit vehicle, So there we are.
Well, I can't dispute any of that. Because I've done my fair share of that. I knew you're a VW guy, but I didn't realize you were into the water-cooled versions. I figured it was going to be part of the Bug Brigade or something like that.
Well,
Wabbits.
But I do have a 63 Beetle. I've had it for a long time. It's in storage. I hope to bring it home at some point. It's got a nice patina on it. It's only got 36,000 miles on it. And was here kind of local to me for a long time. Summer car, sat in this lady's barn. She used a little bit in the summer. This other family had purchased it, and I saw the car one day kind of off in the distance, and on a whim I said, I'm going to go see if they want to get rid of this thing. And I bought it, brought it home. I've had it ever since. So
That's
it's
awesome.
patiently waiting its turn.
Well, he answered my question that I always ask.
Well, I don't think he did, because you haven't even tapped into some of the stuff he said.
Okay.
There's more in store.
There
So
is.
63,
Cool.
is that the split window version, or is that
No, that's so the early up to what 51 was the split, and then
Okay.
up through 57 was the oval. 58 is when the window kind of went square, and then as they progressed, the back windows and stuff kind of got a little bit bigger.
Gotcha.
The 63 is a really nice. A lot of like the custom ones you see are kind of within that age range,
Mhm.
and it needs some love. You know, I mean, it's a Northeast VW Beetle. You know, the heater channels, the floors, all that stuff that just succumbed to rust. It needs that, but it's got low mileage. It's a anthracite gray with a red and cream two-tone interior. So
Wow.
it would just be absolutely killer with just a nice patina, you know, maybe put some flat or semi-gloss clear on the body, redo the interior, do a mechanical restoration on it, and
There's some
enjoy
white
it
wall.
for its 36 horsepower of blazing glory, you know.
Wasn't there more horses pulling a beer wagon in the Budweiser commercial?
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. Would you put white walls on that then?
Maybe it's got a what does it have on it now? I think it's got just like a, you know, not a big white wall, but just a white stripe.
Yeah, the little pinstripe.
tire. Yeah, I think it may have came with that, or I think it had black walls. It literally has the original spare tire in the front end of that thing still, amazingly.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's going in the museum, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
The tire. That's awesome. Cool. So wanted to ask you really quickly if you could kind of elaborate on what it's like working for a magazine. We haven't had anybody other than Scott, of course, from Automotive Magazine talking to us, but we never got to talk to him about what it's like writing for a magazine. So what kind of deadlines and stuff do you have to face?
Well, I would say they're fairly short and condensed.
Okay.
Yeah. So, you know, I backing up a little bit. So I got to befriend Mike Felix over at the Town of Newburgh Model Car Club, and Doug White through basically the Classic Plastic Show. So that kind of channel and connection, you know, I helped Mike Felix kind of get familiar with an airbrush because he never really used one and he needed a little bit of assistance. So through that, you know, I put together this, restored my Ed Roth Road Agent kit, and Scott Coleman got to see that. I think Mike had sent that picture off to him of that completed model, which ultimately got Scott over to me. And we kind of talked about doing some magazine stuff. And that was right around the holidays, and I hadn't really heard much. And after the holidays, I reached out to him and said, hey, you know, I'd still be interested in contributing or, you know, being kind of the Northeast guy if you want somebody to do show write-ups or whatever. And he said, well, how about a kit review? And I said, yeah, sure, that would be great. So he got a hold of me and said, you know, how about doing this, the Atlantis, you know, recent release of the 57 Nomad. So I said, yeah, sure, no problem. And then, you know, as you start getting into the weeds, it's like, well, it's not a problem, but there's some work here that needs to be done. So I had about a month to get it done, building the kit and then writing the review. And with never doing that, that's difficult because it's like, you know, do I write 3 pages? Do I need to write a page? How deep do I go? Right. So I kind of wrote it up as such, really, I think did it justice as to my process. The items of concern, which was kind of important to Scott, you know, to understand, you know, how do you explain this to somebody that's going to build this thing? And he had nothing but nice things to say. after the first article because he said you really kind of hit it out of the park right from the get-go, as far as the writing. I said, great, so I did that, and then this last issue I just did the 23 Atlantis release, the Jim Keeler parts pack, and that's another one. It wasn't really overly difficult to build, and the writing end of things is fairly easy, but that was he got a hold of me and said, hey, do you want to do this? The kit's being released. It was released on the 15th of, I want to say the 15th of May or 15th of April. And he said, I need it by the 30th. So, and then right in the middle of that was our local club show, and then NNL East, and also Easter. And I think I had a birthday party in there for the grandson as well. So there was a lot of stuff in the way, and you can't really say no, and I'll do my best. And it took me about 6 days to build the kit and write the article. And I'm not much new releases going on right at the moment, so my assumption is that I'm kind of on staff and part of the team, and as he forwards things along to me, I'll take the ball and run with it. So
right on.
Nice.
So if you get one more Atlantis kit, does that make you like officially Mr. Atlantis?
I guess so.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe those guys are hiring down there. I don't know. Maybe I'll pack up and. No, the Atlantis kits are nice. I think, ultimately, Scott saw the work that I did with the Road Agent, and anybody that's ever done any work on those older Revell kits, right? The Atlantis releases of the Revell kits are really no different. They're very delicate, right? You have to really kind of think ahead. You can't just kind of nilly-willy throw parts together because it just doesn't work like that, So the work I did on that, he was impressed with it, and I think that's really what opened the door. And maybe I just keep drawing the short straw. I don't know. But, that's okay. I will make the best of the situation.
You certainly have so far, and I'm impressed by the 23 competition pickup because as the magazine article came out, and then now they're on the shelf at the store. I'm like, if he could do that, I know I could do that.
Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
if you think about it, the Atlantis kits really speak to the majority of the demographic, right?
Yeah.
A lot of the guys coming in, they're going to go for those. They're not as expensive as a Tamiya kit. They're not as intimidating. You would think as a Tamiya kit, right?
Right.
So you open the box, of course, and then you're like, oh my goodness. But
I
mean, most of the retired guys that are getting back into it, I feel like a kit like that is the first thing they're going to go after.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair assessment.
Yeah. So I can see why Scott would continuously send you those because you build them very well.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think in trying to write and explain, we all see it on the online forums. Somebody goes and buys a kit and it's like, oh my God, the amount of flash on this thing, and all the things that make them what they are. It's like it's a 60s release kit on an old set of molds that have been used forever. That's the anticipation, right? So, and I really kind of spoke to that in the Nomad, kind of jokingly, it's okay, breathe. It's part of the process. You clean it, you move on, and really, with the newer kits, newer builders coming in, it can be intimidating to look at that when you've got something like a Tamiya kit that just falls together, But I think through the adversity of building those older releases and doing a nice job of it and putting it together, I mean, that's just going to kind of take you to that next step, So,
And I've
don't get frustrated by it. It's just a plastic model. It's not.
I've
It's not the end of the world. Yeah,
exactly. I've said in the past that the only drama on building a Tamiya kit is what color you're going to paint it.
Yeah, pretty much.
But if you're doing an Atlantis or NPC or something like that, there's just drama in opening the box of like, how much extra plastic did they supply me with? Let's find out.
Yeah, well, you don't know what the gamble is until you get into it. That's for sure. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's like going, I want to go to the casino tonight, but I don't want to be told what game I'm going to play or how much I should bet.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I'm in.
Right, exactly.
I mean,
But,
I'm happy to continue to do the Atlantis, whatever they throw my way. I mean, I'm very appreciative and humbled by the whole thing, to be able to do that for those guys and whatever he wants me to do, I mean, I'm very realistic with him. The 23T, it's like, I got it. So it was released on the 15th. I got it the 18th and I had till the 30th, like I said, with things in the middle. And I said, I'll do my best, but I said, just understand that we may need to be a little bit flexible on the end. And, by and large, anticipating what it was, it went together fairly easily. So
you're excuse me, you're really doing a great job, because now I really want to get this 23 pickup. And I'm like, if they released it on the 15th and you got it on the 18th, yours was like fresh out of the mold.
Right. Yeah. I mean, as soon as they released them, Spotlight Hobbies sent it over, and I had it within 2 or 3 days, and I spent the first night kind of looking it over, cleaning it up, and that one surprisingly didn't really have a lot of flash, compared to, not that the Nomad really had a lot either, but it's a magazine article, it doesn't, though I try to make them nice and clean up the things that really don't need to be cleaned up. It's opportunities to do the best you can while you're there. But it went together fairly easily, and I always tell people, if you're painting things of like color, build assemblies, paint the whole thing at once, so
it's like the armor version of building model cars,
It really is. I mean, you look at that, it's a lot of it's yellow, and it's all one color. So put it together, hold on to it, prime it, paint it, and off you go.
So one positive thing I want to say about Atlantis, while I'm looking at this article you have here, is since they're repopping the old Revell stuff, that is they're doing us a service by doing that, because those could have gone away. Those molds could have gone away, and
Absolutely.
we've never seen them again. So
yeah, and that would really be too bad, because when you kind of look at the 23T and even the Nomad, when you look at when those were released back in the 60s, right? And the technology that was available to produce the molds themselves versus the technology today with CNC machines and all the technology we have to produce a mold versus how it was done back in the day. I mean, for that reason alone should be enough for anybody that's building a model to go out and buy one of these things, even knowing that there's challenges there, just to understand where we were to get where we are today.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. It's a heritage thing.
Absolutely.
Where did we come from? Here's where we came from.
Yeah.
So, okay, dang it. I'm going to go to work on Monday. I'm going to get 5.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're getting a shopping list together, I see.
I'm getting a shopping list.
I look forward to seeing all the small little parts super glued to your face here in an upcoming podcast.
It can happen. It can happen. Let's see here. So you say you're doing a lot of scratch building, and I know you've helped out Jason with doing some scratch building, giving like a tutorial. You're like a mobile tutorial service through the New England area, right?
Yeah. Sure.
Where does your scratch building techniques kind of manifest from?
Yeah, I think all the years of just building stuff, building the full scale cars. I mean, I've done a lot of custom work over the years, not only my stuff, other stuff. I've done a lot of Volkswagen engine swaps, building exhaust. So anything built in metal can be built in plastic. It really is the same concept, a little bit easier, because if you're not successful, well, it's easy to throw it away and just start over. So I think it's kind of the vision to look at it, figure out what it is you want to do, The F100 I just completed, and I took that to NNL East. There was really nothing under the hood. There was the scratch built intake manifold or intake tube for the filter that came with the engine kit. There was a battery that had some really basic wiring, and I kind of knew that wasn't enough. So when I came back from there, I continued to build kind of like a computer module, a little relay module, added that in, did a little bit of brake booster modification, a clip for the brake booster and some brake lines. That idea came from my buddy Vinny Labasco, top-notch builder out of town of Newburgh Model Car Club. Like amazing. So I went back and kind of added more detail, and the thing that I found as we kind of continue down the road is, and Jason and I have had this conversation about just trying to slow things down a little bit. I think it's good to have the palate cleanser every now and again just to kind of knock one out. But, it's nice to kind of slow it down, spend a little bit of extra time, and kind of add some of that stuff in, that F100, I scratch built all the suspension under that. I made a long arm, scratch built the coils, did all the exhaust out of aluminum tubing. Jason sent me a set of 3D printed mufflers that I use for that. And it's just kind of where I'm at. It's nice to kind of take those extra steps. A lot of that stuff just gets overlooked by the population, and that's really no offense to anybody, but the way I've always handled kind of building full-size cars is the things that go unnoticed, the subtlety are the things that are the most impactful. So if you look at it and it doesn't really look like anything's been done, one could get aggravated, me including, that got overlooked. But the reality is, if it's incorporated good enough to where you don't realize what's been done, that's not a bad thing, I think it's the little details that kind of bring people in and have them really start looking and start picking up on the things that it is you've done. And that's just really fun to do that, Yeah. It's kind of where I'm at with a lot of it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So make it look like it's supposed to be there.
Yeah.
And then, because sometimes the absence of detail is more impactful than the actual detail that's been added in there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Am I saying that correctly?
Yeah.
Something should be here. There's a hole. Let's fill that with photo wedge.
I built the 54 Hudson Pro Street was one of the projects I did last summer. And that was a kind of a kit bash of, Mobius Hudson, and then the venerable 67 Chevelle rear clip. And I added a lot of detail in there on the bottom side with, some scratch building, but adding just kind of like bead roll detail to the Mobius floor pan to kind of match what was on the back of the 67 Chevelle kit.
Nice.
And there was a lot of subtlety in that was just kind of overlooked. But when you look at, kind of one of my heroes in the car building community, Troy Trepanier from, Illinois, the stuff that he built back in the 90s, that car was really modeled after, Humongous, awesome. The big Buick that he built, other than the color, I wanted to change the color so it wasn't exactly the same.
Was that a green one?
The green. Yeah, the two-tone green. Well, it's actually three. So it's a emerald green on the top, metallic mint green on the bottom, and there's a very subtle teal line that kind of separates the two colors.
I like that car. I like that, and I like the Biscayne he did.
Yeah. He just does just amazing stuff, and even today, So, in building that, there's a lot of subtlety involved. There's lack of stuff that needs to be there because that's just the way that they were. Yep. So kind of built it true to that style, So.
Yeah. One of my favorites of yours, actually.
Yeah. I love it. It's just a cool car, So.
Yeah. It's well done. Well done. Let's see. I wanted to find out from you, how many shows have you been able to get to in a year?
So, oddly enough, I've only competed in probably 5 shows, 3 of those being Jason's Classic Plastic. No, actually, I only competed twice, but
That's
very few. You know, I'm kind of up here, as I said, I'm in the northern part of Vermont. We do have a local car or local model club, really good bunch of primarily really good military builders. Some of these guys are just really top notch, and we do have some really good car builders as well. And we have our show that kind of was stagnant because of COVID and all that stuff. It came back. Jason came up to it this year, but a lot of stuff was really just kind of out of the range. You know, I went down to Classic Plastic 3 years ago, didn't compete, got to meet Doug White, and you know, just kind of took the show in. And then I went back the year after, competed. I brought a trash truck that I built and kind of weathered, and a couple other models, and then, you know, went back last year. But other than Classic Plastic, I did NNL East this year. We did the Down East Con in Maine. Jason was over at that show. There's Atlantis Con in New Hampshire.
Yep.
Plan on that. There is, I don't know the dates yet for PatCon, when that's going to be. I've contemplated that.
That PatCon is the first show that was on my list, actually. June 21st.
June 21st.
Yeah.
So
that's coming up fast.
Yeah.
The problem is where I am, everything is, you know, NNL East is, you know, it's 5.5 hours. Everything else is 3 or 4, you know, so it's a bit of a commitment to say I'm going to give up a weekend to go do that, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
And where you guys are, it's not just 3 or 4 hours. It's also 3 or 4 states away, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
no comprehension of that here in Arizona.
No, right.
So, yeah, it's 5.5 hours to the next state.
Yeah, exactly.
If you want to go to that one.
Right.
But anything on the horizon for getting down to Acme in 2026?
Yeah, I'd love to. I know last year, and I think this year as well, Mike Felix, Vinny Labasco, there was a bunch of guys from the town of Newburgh Model Car Club that actually drove down. I can't remember I think Rick Hanamore maybe went with those guys too. I can't remember if he went last year. So they drove and went down for the weekend and then came back. I contemplated it. This year, definitely not, but maybe next year. I think it'd be a good goal.
You should pencil in 2026 because that's when we're all going to be there.
Yeah, that would. Boy, I feel like a live interview on a podcast would be really cool.
Yeah,
that would be awesome.
Right,
Yeah.
and then we'll do the live interview, and then we'll keep that kind of canned just in case. If you win one of the top 10s, we'll definitely put it in. If you don't, oh well, sorry.
Yeah, this interview is contingent on you doing good.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's see how we did.
Right.
That's awesome. Well, hopefully we get to see you down there because that would be going to be a freaking party if we can do it. All right, guys, we're going to open this up to the rest of the hosts.
I have a question. I wanted Jodi to touch on something real quick before we start hitting them with these weird questions that we ask everybody.
It's a family show.
I know.
All right.
Can you touch a little bit on your painting process and what you paint with? Because it's not normal. I'm thinking, I'm trying to wrap my brain around it, and I'm like, how?
Yeah. So
What's your secrets?
So when I kind of jumped back into the hobby, right, pandemic era, and kind of picked up the airbrush, through research on YouTube, I found a number of people on there that are painting with the cheap acrylic craft paint. So I said, well, you know, it looks like it works for them. I'm going to give it a shot. So I happened to go out and pick up some paint, and it's an amazing variety out there for anybody that's even looked at that stuff.
Yeah.
It's amazing the amount of colors that are available and
in different shades, like just one shade
shades.
off. It's like crazy.
And metallics. And I mean, there's all sorts of stuff available. So, you know, I see people kind of do their own concoction of, you know, quote unquote thinner. distilled water, alcohol,
Dare I say
washer
Windex?
fluid, all
Yeah.
sorts of stuff,
Washer
And
fluid, yeah.
all I use is basically just straight isopropyl alcohol, rubbing alcohol. You've got 70%, 90%. So what I'll do is I'll use the acrylic craft paint. I've got the Tamiya mixing jars. I'll shake the craft paint up really well, dump it into the jar. And as far as ratios, I kind of eyeball everything. I see a lot of people just are very matter of fact with ratios. I kind of don't do that. If anybody that spent time with a paint gun or an airbrush, you can mix it to what you think it needs to be. But the reality is the way it sprays ultimately dictates how much you need to thin it. So I'll kind of start with an approximate, maybe 40, 60%, 40 paint, 60 of alcohol. And then I'll shake it really well, let it settle, shake it, do that a number of times. And then with the alcohol, I will say you really need to apply that over primered base because it's water-based paint. So if you spray onto just bare plastic or unprepped plastic, I mean, it peels off very easily, because it doesn't really eat into the plastic. So apply a good primer base and then, light coats. The stuff lays down really nice. Not always. Some of it's more finicky than others. But if done properly, you've got a nice flat base layer that can then be gone back over. And, by and large, everything that I paint, I use 2K clear. And I use the Omni brand, which is PPG's kind of middle of the road. They've got a shop line is kind of the base. The Omni is kind of more middle of the road. And then they have the PPG line, which is, just different price points. And, the first paint job that I did, I said, here I put water-based paint down. Let's see what happens when I put this, solvent-based clear over the top. And I was blown away how well it works. Now, by and large, just about everything I've built over the last 5 years, I've used the acrylic craft paint for exterior, body color. But I've also used the acrylic craft or Tamiya acrylics, the jar paint. I use that quite a bit. The F100 I just completed, that's with Tamiya acrylic. And I've also started kind of branching out more into the lacquer side of things. There's a lot of great paint out there. And what I tell everybody is if you've got something that works, stick with what works. What works for me works for me. There's a certain amount of frugality and cheapness on my end, which prevents me from spending the long dollar to go buy 2K, Splash, MCW, some of that stuff.
Yeah.
Tamiya paints are available at my local hobby shop. They've carried a lacquer line now, so I've been kind of using those a little bit more. I did the surfer van for your group build, the Street Machine group build last year, and that was painted with the Tamiya metallic orange, and that stuff sprays really, really nice. Anybody that uses the Tamiya lacquer semi-gloss black is by far the hands down best semi-gloss black paint I've ever used.
Yeah,
lays down nice. It looks really nice. It's durable. So I'm not really afraid to try different things, and at the end of the day, if it gets all messed up, you strip it, you start over,
Yeah.
One of the cars that I recently completed, I built a 61 Galaxy that I did kind of a panel paint job on. I've wanted to do one of those for a while. And, that's a mix of Tamiya lacquer. I also utilize the Createx Candy 2.0 clear or, the candy color on that. And I also used nail polish on that. So when you see it, the purple sparkly is nail polish applied over a silver base. And then I masked off the panels, laid lace over it, laid down the Candy 2.0, pulled the lace off, did a little bit more Candy 2.0, and then went back over it and applied 2K Clear, and kind of the same thing with that. The Createx Candy 2.0 is supposed to be used with. They've got like an kind of an intercoat clear, if you will, and the intent is you're supposed to put the Candy 2.0 into the clear and then apply that. Of course, I didn't do that, right? I just sprayed it right over. I was like, well, either it's going to work or it's not. And it's it's like an aniline ink, and you can literally do this and it wipes right off. And I'm like, I don't know what clear is going to do this. It could just strip right off. I did a quick research, and it said you can apply clear over it. And I said, well, here goes nothing. So that car actually is sitting right here.
Oh yeah.
Right. Oof. And the roof, you can maybe see the lace job in there.
Nice.
But this is a bunch of different things, a bunch of different techniques. So back what I said earlier about kind of standing on the edge, if you're afraid to do that, you may get stuck where you are. But if you're happy where you are, stay where you are. If you've got something that works, continue to use it,
Yeah.
But I like to do stuff like this, People have been using nail polish forever. It's the first time using it. It was the first time doing a lace job. It was the first time using the Createx Candy 2.0, So,
and I believe that model actually got one of our podcast chips.
It did. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
I was honored by that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, do you think, Jodi, that that Mr. Leveling 400 would work well with the craft paint?
It does. So the petty car that I showed you guys earlier, that was I did one last year, the 71 Plymouth, and I actually reduced that with the 400, the leveling or the leveling thinner. And you had to kind of use more leveling thinner really to make it work, because it was almost kind of a really thick milk kind of consistency, and it didn't really want to spray that well. I had to add more leveling thinner than what I thought I would have had to, but that worked really well, actually.
All right. So did you notice a difference in the drying time between that and using alcohol?
Using the leveling thinner, the one thing I did notice was it was dry, but it felt a little tacky. Kind of had a kind of a weird feel to it. But once again, 2K Clear pretty much goes over everything.
Yeah. Except chrome.
We're working on that.
Yeah.
We're working on that, yeah. One day we'll put a man on Mars and have shiny chrome.
The 2K works really good. I know a lot of Splash and a lot of the manufacturers sell their own product, and that's fine. A quart of clear lasts a long time, and a lot of people say, I hear it, there's a shelf life. It doesn't last. Once you open it, the hardener doesn't last. Once you open
it lasts.
I've been working off that same quart of clear and hardener for probably the last 3 years.
Absolutely.
I don't have issues with it.
You're absolutely 100% correct. What kind of clear do you use?
It's the Omni.
Okay.
The one that I'm using currently is just the quick
2-to-1. That's the 2-to-1, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. This is the MC 260 quick clear, and then I use the fast hardener, which is the MH 167. And I really have had no problems with it. I have started adding. So this is a 2-to-1, 2 parts hardener, 1 part, or 2 parts clear, 1 part hardener. And then I will reduce it with a half of medium reducer, which thins it out a little bit. And it does help it kind of level out. And then I have, you can't see it, but in the background over here, one of the things that I use, so I'll kind of get the first couple coats down. And a lot of people say, well, you got to kind of put a binder coat. I call bullshit on that. I mean, I lay it on there like I'm going to lay it on there, and not really try to get it super flat, but put a fairly flat coat down, because then subsequent coats over that become fairly flat. And then if you thin it a little bit, even more so. but I've got a little heat gun that I use very carefully. I can't stress enough. Okay. But what I'll do is I'll get kind of the third and fourth coat of clear on, and I'll go for my little homemade paint booth here over. I'll use the heat gun, and basically all I'm doing is just kind of going over the model, because anybody that spent time in a body shop with a baking booth, right, the baking booth will help level things out. So I use the heat gun to basically do that. It helps really kind of flow it out. And then usually I put 4 coats on is enough to then go back and knock it down if you have to. But the Pedikar, other than orange peel in it, that thing, laid down really super, super nice. But the heat does help. So, I don't have a dehydrator. I've yet to buy one of those.
I was just going to ask you that. Have you ever considered a dehydrator instead of the heat gun?
Yeah, I have. And I haven't picked it up yet because the thing that I'm using kind of works. But I think a dehydrator would be a good thing to add into the mix. If you use a slower hardener or a different reducer, that will also help it flow out. But when it acts slower, it leaves you open to sags and a lot of stuff that can be problematic.
Right.
I use a medium.
Yeah. Do you use the medium hardener?
Yeah.
And then kind of similarly in spraying the acrylic craft paint, you've got 70% rubbing alcohol, 90%. It's really no different than the medium reducer, slow reducer, fast reducer, anything else that you would use. They dry a little bit differently, but using that little heat gun kind of helps kind of speed that up. They got to be careful because I have melted stuff with it.
Yeah.
Accidentally. I'm like flying close to the danger zone, and then it'll go from like being nice to just like, and you screwed up, So it's like,
it's going to be like George's.
Yeah.
George's. What was that?
It was a Beetle. He took a Tamiya Volkswagen Beetle and turned it into a softball.
Oh yeah.
He did. That's right. That's right.
We love you, George. Jodi, I have a question for you. When you're dealing with the craft paint stuff, do you strain it at all?
I try to be better about straining it. Not very often do I do that. Where I will strain when I'm doing the clear coat,
Me too.
I will strain that.
Okay.
Unless you get something really big and obnoxious in the base layer, but I keep a couple pair of tweezers around just to kind of pluck stuff out.
Okay.
If it gets into clear coat, you can pluck it out of clear coat and it will kind of lay itself back in, if you get to it right off.
Yeah.
So, and I've also started, international scale modeler Paul there, when he paints, he puts it in a plastic bin with a cover on it to keep stuff out of it in between clear coats. And my computer is actually sitting on a bin that I bought to do exactly that. So when I'm done, I'll go do the drying, whatever I'm going to do with the heat gun. And then it kind of sits under the bin. And that really does help keep stuff out of it because with clear coat, anything that's floating through the air is going to grab onto that because it's really sticky until it cures. So by putting it under the box or maybe in a dehydrator helps immensely in keeping that kind of nuisance stuff out of it.
What do you use to buff yours?
So this is another area where I differ from some. I wet sand with 3000 grit only.
So do I. Yeah, exactly what I do.
And then I use Marcos Cruz. I use the products he uses, which is the McGuire's compound and polish. It's in a black bottle.
It's exactly what I use.
Yeah, and then kind of a trick of the
it's got a red car on it and a black car on the other.
Exactly. Yeah.
I have a jar of that here too.
One thing I can't stress enough is when you're buying wet sandpaper, do not cheap out on sandpaper. The stuff that I use is very expensive, but it's the McGuire's paper. And McGuire's paper is just top notch. It's the McGuire's Unigrit paper. And it's very uniform grit. It sands really nice. It removes a lot of stuff very quickly. You got to be careful with it, even at 3000 grit. And then everything that I do from there is Everything's by hand. I use microfiber towels.
Yep.
I'll apply the compound, and I'm just doing it by hand. I see people
So
using a rotary tool and stuff, and I refuse to do that.
Your technique is like exactly as mine, but it's the paper I use. I use that sponge, the Trizac stuff, the 3M.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh,
You ever use that?
That's the stuff I use.
I do
This
have
is
some
really good.
I do have some of that in different grits. Now I saw Frank Steffens. That's what he uses, a Trizac.
Really good.
And yeah, I've contemplated buying some, but I've spent all the money, part of my retirement package, to actually buy the McGuire's paper. So I'm working through that currently.
So and now with you saying you don't use rotary tools, you know what I just started using? It just on this last car. I was over at the SoCal Open.
Yep.
And what's that guy's name that had the booth set up? Brian, do you remember his name? The lowrider guy.
The SoCal Open, was that? Oh my God,
I forgot his name.
He's gonna kick me next time I see him.
Yeah, I'll help him kick you.
Yeah, thanks.
I spent a little time in his booth.
Was it Edgar?
Edgar, yeah, I think that's his name. I bought the display.
Scale riders.
Thank you.
I bought this display, little mandrel and sponges, and these things are freaking awesome, dude. I mean, they are so awesome on a Dremel, and it buffed it right out, man. It's got different grits, and it's kind of like the sponge thing that I told you, but you're using this on a Velcro type system.
Yeah.
And it works like super awesome.
I guess the only concern I have, and the reason I've kind of stayed away from it, is you got to be careful on the edges.
Oh, of course.
And there's so many thin edges on one of those. Even if you put 4 coats of clear, you get through really quick. And I've buffed through just by hand on some of them.
Mm-hmm.
So
I just can't believe how well this worked. Maybe I got lucky because it's the first time I ever used it.
Yeah.
But I swear that this made that job so much easier.
Here's my rule: 100% success rate. Stop.
Right.
But I've used this stuff forever, and if Brian, you use this stuff, it's awesome, huh?
That's the stuff that was recommended by Johns Weber, so I started using it.
Best.
Awesome.
I've used it from the very beginning, pretty much.
One of the other products I use, a lot of people don't, is so go through the polishing, compound polish, and then I use a good glaze, and the glaze works really well because the glaze will remove a lot of the really fine scratches.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And it just puts a shine on there like you wouldn't believe. Very rarely do I put any sort of wax.
Yeah, my wife's got the glaze over here.
Yeah,
I use glaze too. Same stuff.
That's good stuff. Because if there's any little minute stuff that gets left behind, that will take it out.
Because if you use wax, you're going to end up having to do that again.
Yeah.
Next time you take it out for a show. So that's what I've been told. But yeah, the glaze, because when I was learning how to do clear coat polishing,
there you go.
My friend Johns Weber was like,
I got the other one.
I was like, I got all these hairline scratches in it. I'm doing this wrong. He goes, well, did you use the glaze yet? I'm like, no. He goes, use that. So I did. I'm like, oh, they're gone.
I don't use, and a lot of, I might get shot for this or hate mail, but I don't use,
probably.
I don't use that Nova stuff, the Novus stuff. I don't use it because there's silicon in that. And it'll if it gets all over your area, you can get fish eyes and stuff in your stuff, from what I've heard.
Yeah,
I only use that on transparent pieces.
Yeah, you got to be
careful with that stuff.
Careful the work area and the stuff that you use, because if you don't clean your work area good, all that stuff just becomes problematic. I wash everything that comes out. I use Dawn dish liquid and warm water, all the parts. And I know some people don't do that. And I've always had this fear of, kind of same with the one-to-one, full scale cars and paint jobs I've done on those. It's like, you can wipe the car off with wax, or You can sand it, but I always start with wax and grease remover first before I do
Yeah.
anything. Get all the old finish off, because if there's stuff in there that's impregnated into the paint or the clear,
Yep.
all you're doing is moving it around, you know, and
Yes.
it's not going to be, that stuff never comes up until go time.
Yep.
Right? When you're in the midst of it, it's like, oh shit, where'd that come from?
Right.
You know?
Yeah. When you're doing a gloss black paint job with a clear,
Yeah.
My we have people out there that say don't wash your parts, or you're just being silly doing that, you're wasting time. And I'm like, why not reduce your variables?
Yeah. Here, a thing, a friend of mine, John Tressi, turned me on to this stuff.
And it's called One Choice.
Yep. It's called One Choice, and it's a degreaser. I spray it on a rag, and I wipe the car off before I start. And, you know, I haven't had a fisheye since I've used that stuff.
Yeah.
It works great, man. I mean, this stuff is awesome. He turned me onto this. I turned him onto the wax.
There you go.
The next time I come over to your house, I'm going to open up a can of sardines and touch all of your stuff.
I'll have to spray Brian down with this stuff.
Don't hit me with degreaser. I'll melt away.
That's pretty much that's pretty much my process. Take your time, you know, and you gotta kind of give time. And I'm a little bit of a hypocrite because I try to push it sometimes too, but it's one of those things, you know, and you really look at, you know, a very minimal amount of contest, but you know, the paint is really what brings people in, right? I think the added detail is what keeps people, and the subtlety within how you do things really is what produces a really good model, you know.
Paint, stance, and wheels. Yeah,
you just got to take your time and understand that there's just hitches in the road that are just kind of come along, you know. I've had really good luck because I've got a process that seems to work pretty good. I am branching out, using more lacquers. I've got a bunch of old, you know, testers, Boyd's paint, you know, the tester enamel that I've had forever. I haven't used, but that's all good stuff, you know. But you just gotta take your time, you know, and understand that shit happens, and if it does, you kind of learn to kind of work from that. You know, I see people have one little bobble. Like, well, I'm stripping the whole thing. It's like, I am not doing that. I've never had to strip a whole car. It's like, I'm going to work with what I've got. Either it works or it's not going to. And if it's a little bit of a, you know, thing that maybe you're not going to see, right? I've told Jason this before. We're not going to Pebble Beach. Right. You know, if somebody wants to stand around and nitpick that much at something, let them do it. They're leaving somebody else alone. So,
right.
That's funny. On the other hand, I've stripped a lot of models.
Especially when you mix up your water and your paint thinner.
I don't want to even talk about that.
Yeah,
I do. I'm just giving you a hard time, Chuck.
No,
cool. All right.
I'll
tell you what, guys. Why don't we open it up to the host's questions for Jodi? So lock and load. You guys ready?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
We'll start with Chuck.
Well, he answered my question.
Good. Okay, let's go on to Jason. No, I have the feeling there's more there for you, Chuck.
My question is usually, do you have a classic car? Because you build models and lots of them are classic cars. Yeah. And if you do, or if you don't have one now, what was your favorite one in the past? If you have owned one, but you've already told us you own one.
Yeah. Well, I've had a lot of stuff over the years. I do have a couple of Volkswagens still. You know, they've kind of fallen into a state of disrepair because really more on my end of things. But not classic. But I've got a new Audi S5 that I bought a couple of years ago. I had shipped out here from Las Vegas, and that's kind of the progression of being a young guy in an old VW, kind of bouncing down the highway to I'm a fat middle-aged guy and I like air conditioning and comfortable heated massaging seats.
Right.
So that really is kind of the primary thing, you know, as I kind of move down the road a little bit and, get not close to retirement, but closer, right? We kind of evaluate the things around us. And the things that I find that I enjoy a lot more now is the model building, the camaraderie. I've made a lot of great friends through the car community, and we'll carry those relationships till I'm dead. But, I find less and less time to do the other stuff, because the reality is anybody that spent time working on an old car or restoring a car, it is a time bandit like you would not believe.
Yes.
And the world stops while you are doing that. And I just don't have
never get your money back.
You do not get your money back. No. So, I got the Audi as kind of my summer toy. And I do have a passion for the old stuff still. My dad's got an old 79 Malibu wagon sitting out here in the driveway that I bought him a number of years ago. And that's got a built 355 in it. And it's kind of an ugly old thing. It's a light yellow color, and, it's a tire burner, so he beats the oblivion out of it, smoking the tires constantly and reliving his youth. So we kind of enjoy that together. So there is a classic car sitting out there. So
good deal.
Yeah.
I love the fact that your dad's still out there tearing up,
Oh yeah.
Tearing up tires.
Yeah, giving his buddies hell rides, I'm never getting in the car with you again, It's like, I'm not getting in the car with you because you can't see, and you drive like an idiot. But
oh, can't wait for him to hear this podcast on Father's Day.
Yeah. Right.
That's sweet. Okay, cool. Let's move on to Jason, sir.
Okay. It's funny that my question, and behind you is your stash. Okay. So the zombie apocalypse is upon us. It really is like the crap is hitting the fan, and you've got your family or pets or whatever. Everybody that you care about is safe, but you have enough time to run back in the house and grab one model out of that stack behind you. What model are you grabbing first?
That's a tough question, isn't it? I've contemplated this because I knew you were going to ask this. And the answer is I've got a old Revell Ed Roth Mysterian kit, and that's the one that I'm grabbing because that's a difficult kit to put together. I have really put off putting that together until I feel that I've had the skills and the ability to actually do it. So that one would take some time. I probably wouldn't get bored putting that thing together. So the exact kit. I've got the
Brian just bought that too.
Yeah.
Just bought that.
Yeah.
So
that's
hard to put together?
It's like any other old Revell kit. There's a lot of little parts and pieces in there.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you think about that car in real life, I mean,
it doesn't look like it fits together real well in real life.
No,
I'm sure it doesn't.
Yeah,
but that would be the one I would grab. That would be a good kit. It'd be a challenge. You're not going to get that thing done in a weekend. And there's a lot of opportunity, I think, to make that a really cool kit. And
nice.
Ed Roth has been a huge inspiration for my whole life. The stuff that he did back then, and that whole lowbrow art and kind of all that stuff. It just it still amazes me today, the stuff that some of those guys did back then.
Exactly.
It was almost like it was counter car culture. It
really was
culture than counter car culture.
Yeah,
and I have one of the road agent kits that I desperately wanting to tackle because it's got a Corvair engine in it. So I'm like,
it does.
hey.
Yep.
So
I bring Ed with me everywhere I go.
Yeah,
yeah. I'll tell you what, Jodi, if the zombie apocalypse happens and you don't make it out with your kit, stop by in Arizona.
Yeah, you can hop in whatever vehicle you happen to jump into, preferably the wagon because you can fit more stuff in it.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
And head for Arizona.
Yeah. Because
I don't know if you've seen any of the TV shows about the zombie apocalypse, but trying to get across country is a good plan.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to go across country. They just sort of end up going across country.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's like going to Denny's for dinner. Nobody wants to go to Denny's. You just
That's
sort of end up there.
The sun out here will like disinfect all the zombies. It'll be
Yes,
like,
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
it neutralizes everything, so there's no zombies no more.
Probably the safe haven then. Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Or-
Also, I'm sorry, Denny's. I did not mean to piss you off. Just in case you were wanting to be a sponsor of the podcast,
Yeah, right.
that door is now closed. But
Yeah,
Matt,
I really could use the Grand Slam too.
Yes.
it's all about the Rudy Tooty Fresh and Fruity.
Oh,
Matt, do you have your question prepared?
I do have my question prepared. So, Jodi, do you have a Holy Grail kit that you would love to get your hands on? Something that means a lot to you, or whatever? Just that particular elusive kit that you have not been able to snag that you would really like to get.
Yeah. So one of the ones that I built back in the day, right, way back, one of the ones that I bought at Benjamin Franklin back in the day, and I've seen these pop up every now and again. I'd love to get my hands on another one. Was the Diamond in the Rough kit, which is the 53 Ford, the trailer, and the rusted out 40 Ford.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I've got the trailer. I've got all the bits and pieces of that still in varying states. And I have seen them come up on eBay every now and again. And I'd love to get my hands on another one of those just for the nostalgia of it, because that's a really cool kit. Yeah.
Those are
that's one. I wouldn't say that's one of my Holy Grail kits. That's one that I regret not getting back when you saw them on the shelves all the time.
Yeah.
Because I love the AMT 44. That's like my favorite kit.
Yeah.
And that's the one AMT 44 I never got. And it's just interesting that it's all dinged up and banged up. And
Yeah.
And
Was that the same kit they put on the back of that L7 Dodge truck?
No,
Okay,
that was
somebody else.
actually a Limburg version of the 44.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah,
Very, very close to the AMT, but not quite.
Gotcha. All
Limburg,
right.
yeah, that was kind of a. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
I may have made Atlantis mad. I don't want to make Lindbergh mad too.
No, please.
I don't want them coming after me.
Hate mail
No.
forthcoming.
Yeah, right. No, it's more of a knock at the door type of thing. Like, hey, I know where you work, dude. It's like, oh, crap.
You go out, you have a car full of grass clippings or something.
I'm more worried about my boss coming to me one day going, hey, you know what? All of our prices on Atlantis went up for some reason. Do you have any idea why that happened? I don't know why that happened. Okay, so my question, in the world of TV, movie cars, and such, hero cars, what one would you want as your daily driver?
It's a good question. Does that have to be
I
TV?
thought so.
It could be a movie car.
Movie car or TV?
So there's a little obscure movie that some people have seen and some have not, 70s era, called Hot Rod. And in that movie was a Willys coupe with a Hemi in it, drag car. And if I had favorable weather and the cojones enough to daily drive it, I would absolutely love to have that car. It's a toss-up of that and the 2-lane blacktop 55. I mean, both of those, they just had the look, you know.
Right.
And,
right.
I think it really fit, it kind of fit that era really, really well. And that's just really kind of my style of stuff, you know.
Well, that Hot Rod movie was the movie that sold me on everything needs to be primer.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, but do you remember the part of the movie where the guy just comes out with the 671 blower with the hat on it, just like, here, put this on your car for your next race? And the guy's like, yeah, sure, no problem.
Yeah.
Okay, because you just throw it on there and off you go, right?
Yeah, right.
And then when he was done, I think he gives it back.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I do remember that movie, and oddly enough, I think that was filmed in the Niles area, just out behind Fremont, where I grew up.
Oh, okay.
Really? Nice.
Yeah, if I remember correctly. If I'm wrong, send me an email. Let me know. I'd like to hear.
That's a great
Like,
movie. That's a
Over
great
by the
movie.
Mun's root beer.
So
But 41 Willies, man. Yeah, good choice.
it's a good
Especially
movie.
gas it out.
If you've never seen it, it's a good movie. So
Right.
Yeah.
No, it is good. It's a lot of fun. Cool. All right. Well, Jodi, do you have anything you'd like to share with us about your Instagram feeds and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's VW Jodi is kind of my Instagram. I do have some model stuff in there. I'm trying to kind of put more in there. You know, I've got a fairly active Facebook page, but I'm very particular about who I let come into my Facebook world. And I only kind of post stuff on only a few pages. I post on Jason's page and your podcast, I think maybe very minimally, but there's so many pages out there. And you can get lost in the sea of stuff, you know. So I've got on my personal Facebook page, I've got a folder in my photos that's all model car stuff related. So you can kind of look back through the time, you know, and see where I started in rattle can days to kind of today. So we've got quite a bit going on in there. So
nice.
Very good.
Very cool.
Very good. Awesome. And do you have any advice you'd like to share to anybody who's thinking about getting into or back into the hobby these days?
Yeah, it's tough to, you know, I think we all kind of fall in the same thing, you know, the hobbies that we kind of gain along the way, they come and go. We add stuff in for hobbies, and it's tough to kind of split your time between multiple things. The car hobby, the model hobby in general, you know, I'm trying to do more military planes and stuff like that. It's just it's a great community. It's a great hobby. The ability to build stuff with your hands, you know, other than YouTube, I don't really watch a lot of TV, you know, I'd rather kind of keep my hands and kind of mind going. And to that end, today with the kits that are available, the materials that we use, you know, the days of the orange tube glue are long gone. And with all the 3D printed and all the resin stuff that's coming along, it's just a great time to really be in the hobby. And you know, don't be afraid, you know, kind of jump in both feet, you know. There he goes.
Oh my God, yes.
I've got a whole box of that stuff over there that
what
I
are
bought.
you doing with that?
Yeah.
This is for when the commute's too long getting home from work.
There you go. Yeah.
Cool.
So there you go. You know, with the internet and online stores and hobby shops, there's just so much stuff that's available today. And, you know, go pick up a model kit. You know, we got to be sharing this stuff with our younger generation, you know, try to get them away from the video games and the TV and the social media and try to get them kind of interested in some of this stuff, you know. And
oh boy,
now really is a great time to be involved because there's so much stuff available. And it's not for kids, you know, and it's not, you know, my girlfriend went with me over to the show in Maine, the Down East Con, and she was pretty blown away. She had a different perspective after going over to that show, you know, and it's like, it really isn't for kids, you know, it really is kind of for everybody. And, you know, go out and get a kit. Don't be frustrated by it. You know, take your time, you know, it's, you know, we're not building the nuclear reactor. We're building the plastic model kit. It's okay to make mistakes. And definitely go out and do it.
Well, you definitely learn more by making a mistake than you do by doing everything perfectly.
Absolutely. And the YouTube community, you know, everybody out in YouTube land, you know, I mean, that really is the thing that kind of brought me back, introduced me to a lot of stuff that I just was not aware of. And there's so much information available now between social media and YouTube and all this stuff. I mean, there's so much good direction now that's available. It shouldn't be something that you should be afraid of, you know. And well, get a model kit, buy some glue, and have a good time.
Absolutely.
There's a new shirt. Buy a model kit, get some glue.
There you go.
Have a good time.
Oh, great shirt.
Have a good time. Right.
Have a good time. So just be a picture of the tube glue. It says, have a good time.
There you go.
Exactly. Yeah.
That would be perfect.
Exactly.
Right. Time travel. Super glue. All right, cool. Jodi, thank you immensely for agreeing to be on the podcast with us. We are just like, yay, Jodi's here. So,
Well, thanks for having me. I really appreciate this. It really means a lot to me.
You're very welcome, and I have a feeling this won't be your only trip to the podcast. So,
awesome.
We'll definitely touch back with you again, especially if the 2026 plan goes through with the Acme deal.
Let's plan for it. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. I mean, there's only going to be like 500,000 people there, so
yeah.
But I'm not hard to find in the crowd. They'll be all right.
No, definitely.
No, I have my own slight gravitational pull. Also, as Scale Model Outlaw found.
Yeah. Jason will probably get lost in the crowd a little bit, but that's okay.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
I think Jason will definitely be. He'll have his own crowd. I'm pretty sure Jason will have his own crowd there. Yeah. All right, guys, let's go ahead and do the closing. Jason, will you go ahead and send us out on that?
Will do. All right. So if you haven't, please consider giving us a 5-star review. It helps to push the podcast out there to new people. We got to get more people listening to the podcast. Also, please go check out modelpodcast.com. That's a consortium website where you can find a scale model podcast to fit any genre, whether it's cars, armor, planes, Gundams, even figures. It's all there. Next, there's an email in the About section of the podcast. Please reach out with any questions, topic suggestions, hate mail for any one of us. Correct us on movie trivia. I mean, anything you can think of that you would like to talk to us about, reach out.
Star Trek model kit scales.
We're getting the from the producer. Oh boy, I better hurry this up. Then we have a Facebook that you can also join. You can share pictures of what you're working on, like Jodi had just said. He shares there sometimes. Share your tips and tricks. The only trick to getting on that, though, is you've got to answer the 3 questions. If you don't answer the 3 questions, I'm not letting you in. No. And that is it for this episode.
Best show ever.
Show ever.
Of course.
All right, let's go ahead and start the goodbyes. Matt, let's lead in that.
Well, this is me, Lucas C, aka Matt, and from the Lucas C channel. And thanks for listening, and thanks for watching, and the on our new Scale Model Car podcast channel over on YouTube. And be sure to check us out on YouTube, the Salvino's JR Models guys. I'm on their show every Saturday morning at let's see, it's about 7 my time, so it's probably later,
10-ish.
sometime
10-ish.
About 10-ish over there.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say 10 Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah.
So it's a great 1-hour show. It's Rick Salvino, Jim Rogers, and me just yucking it up about their frickin' kits. So check it out. We're always talking about something and talking about racing and
Very
that
cool.
kind of stuff. So thanks.
Very cool. Thank you, Matt. Chuck, how about you, buddy?
This is Chuck with Chuck's Hobby Spot. See you next time.
Jodi?
Keep it short.
Yeah, Jodi, keep it short.
Yeah.
Not Jodi, me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Chuck, keep it short, Chuck.
Jodi here. Thanks again for having me on. You can find me over on Instagram, VW Jodi. Go buy some glue and build something.
There you go. Oh, see?
Like
all right. Now you got to have a YouTube channel, Jodi.
Now you got to.
Do it. Jason.
Hey, you got your send off.
Exactly. I like it, actually.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I felt something witty was coming.
Nah.
No.
Take a minute. Think about it. Take a minute.
No, I know what I'm going to say. I thought it was from one of you other guys.
Oh, God, no.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, guys. This is Jason from the Blue Ox Model Shop. Please check out my other set of friends and myself every Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern. We're over there having a good time. That would be Frank Steffens, Mikey, the Scale Model Outlaw, Justin Ryan from the Insanity Podcast.
What kind of shirt? What the hell?
Yeah, and I had to pay for it. You think Riv sent me a shirt for free?
No, I know.
Okay. And my really good friend Tim Ryan. We have a blast over there, so check us out. Also, I've got a Facebook page, the Blocks Model Shop. Again, you can jump on there, but you're gonna have to answer. It's actually 4 questions on mine. I'm kind of picky. Kind of picky on who I let in.
Dude,
4 questions.
Untold minutes to have to answer.
Well, so it's a trick though. 2 of the
One of
questions
them.
are
One
the
of them's
same.
all. What are you wearing?
Yeah. Wow, is that why the police keep knocking on my door?
Those weren't police.
Right.
It's a fashion police.
Oh.
You guys noticed that the longest part of the show was the goodbyes?
Oh, always.
Always.
All right.
Hey, it could be
So-
worse. We could have been doing this on a Sunday.
Oh,
we're all like, All right. So this is BG saying thank you very much for stopping by, watching us on the YouTubes and listening to us on the Spotify. Also want to say thank you to our friends to the podcast, Iceman Collections, VCG Resins by Reese, Scale Model Garage, White Tanks Hobbies, and Auto Modeler Magazine. Also consider checking out our friends at AMC Livecast every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern on the YouTubes. And final thoughts for the day. When it's time for group builds, the sooner you fall behind, the more time you have to catch up. Thank you all. We'll see you again in the next one. Bye now.
Wow, that was
I'm confused.
That's insightful.
I stole that
gave
from
me a
Stephen
headache
Wright.
in my eye.
Oh, nice. That's good. Insightful as in inciting a riot, maybe.
Oh,
Oh,
Too soon?
We'll find out. Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to leave it in, but
We'll find out.
you're just
Yeah.
going to have the National Guard.
hate
show up at your
mail,
house,
hate mail
Jason.
for.
Yeah.
hate mail for-
Oh.
That wasn't me.
Hold on to your asses, Fred. Here we go. Jason.
What?
Is he
Turkey call.
ducks? Is there ducks in the background?
It's a turkey.
Are you trying to feed geese? Okay, that sounds
Sorry.
clean. You're good.
You know,
You polishing
Yeah,
that
I know.
You polishing that with Ajax? Oh shoot! Crap. Okay. Yeah. All right. I got something to talk about here when we
shoot
get to
crap.
Oh, shoot
Yeah.
crap.
That's not good.
Yeah. You ever done that with birdshot?
Shut the crap out of bird.
Oh, here we go again.
Yeah.
Killing birds again.
Our new Subaru Outback. We got 2 birds with that car so far.
Oh, jeez.
Killing 2 birds with 1 Subaru.
When we drove up to the Bay Area, we got to our destination and we were unpacking the car and I went to go move it in the hotel parking lot and I'm walking back away from to the hotel. I'm looking back at the car and I'm like, there's something in the grill. So I got to go investigate. So I go back over to the grill. I take a look and there's a freaking bird stuffed in there in one of the little cubbies of the. So I'm like, wow, it's raining out. I don't want to deal with this right now. I'll take care of it tomorrow morning. Whatever. Well, next day comes. We're busy getting ready to go meet family and stuff. So we all hop in the car and drive off. And I'm like, oh crap, I forgot about that bird in the grill. And then we get to our destination and I get out. I'm like, maybe I'll get a paper towel and take it out. I go around the front of the car. It's gone. The car ate the bird. We were going to dinner with my nephews and we're driving along and this pigeon was just like walking down the center of the road, walking away from me, So I'm like, do I just try to get him between the wheels or do I try to swerve one side? I'll just try and get him between the wheels. So I just kept going my 25 miles an hour and the bird starts to take off and he's just not making it. I think he was right the bow wave of the car. And then finally we hear thump and then just keep on rolling. And then look at my rearview mirror and there's this just splatter of feathers on the road. I'm like, oh God. So get to the restaurant, go around in front of the car, take a look, and cars in Arizona get dusty, right? So go around the front of the car, and there's the imprint in the dust of one wing. Just It happens. But
It does.
I have a rubber stamp being made right now, and I'm going to be putting those on the side of the car. Pigeons. Dum, dum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are my kills. Oh, my book's got here. Cool. Oh, well, you know what? I'm going to go read a book. You guys have fun.
Oh, good.
Thank you, book assistant. Do you guys remember your questions you want to ask Jodi when we get to that segment?
Always.
Okay, good.
I don't forget no more.
Who are you?
What?
Where am I?
Who?
Look busy.
Uh-oh.
No.
All right.
I
Here
got
comes the
nothing.
boss.
Crap.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You figured it all out? Excellent.
Is he gone yet? Well, maybe we got to make hay while the sun's shining, so we might as well get back to this thing
Yeah, let's
here.
get back to it.
Or we're just doing this part here, Jodi, so we have some crap to put at the end of the video. Don't want to be too big on ourselves, but we're actually getting better at this. There's less crap to add at the end now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes it tough on me.
Right. Matt has to go make up stuff.
The crap on the end's the best part.
I know. That's
Yeah,
what
exactly.
that's the only thing I listen to.